Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Ross Benjamin, and like every Thursday going forward, I will be joined by Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. That's the guy on the other side of me right there. Smile for him, Doug. There you go. And just made my day brighter as well. Doug, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ross. Well, I'm not doing as well as I should be doing because I know we've talked about the weather a lot. Okay. And I just wanted to let everybody know is that Doug is actually suffering today because the high today is 57.
Oh, boy.
Okay? And so it's like, my goodness, the Parkers are out, the headgear, the raccoon headgear and everything. So no. Obviously, a lot of people are having it worse, but this happens here, every year, but it's unusual when it does, so it's just pretty weird. So having to wear thicker sweaters and all that other stuff, all that other nonsense.
Okay, you could go on and on and on. I don't feel sorry for you, buddy. I don't. Look at 57 degrees in Western New York in February.
Oh yeah,
people would be sitting outside tanning.
Right. I completely understand that, but you don't do that here.
Okay, no, I understand. I get it.
Even though some people that maybe from Western New York that come out here would probably be doing that. Yes.
A lot of transplants.
Swimming too.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And we're going to get, by the way, now that you mentioned the weather, and this is a sports betting show, by the way, folks. I think Doug aspires to be a meteorologist in his next life. So
unquestionably.
But we're having up to 12 inches of snow by tomorrow morning here in Western New York. So talk about somebody complaining about 57-degree weather. Anyway, Doug, any thoughts when it comes to NBA betting? Anything you want to share with the folks of a unique variety?
Yes. Well, I'll start off with this, Russ. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Now, this is hypothetical on my part, and it's clearly this is my opinion. All right. So let's just get that. I have what I believe is the absolute worst, or I should say, maybe even a better term, the most difficult bet that you can make right now. Okay, in the NBA. Okay. Now I'm not gonna, no drum roll or anything. I'll just go into it. And you can agree or disagree.
Sure.
If you look at the Eastern Conference, we're roughly about 30 games left, okay, to in the regular season. Tell me what you would think would be your best bet to win the Eastern Conference, okay, right now.
Of the teams to win the Eastern Conference right now.
And I'll say good luck.
Yeah, by the way. It's a crapshoot.
Absolutely.
I would say right now, I would still go with Philadelphia because of their upside when everybody's healthy. And possibly a sleeper being Charlotte because they seem to be a lot better than people realize. But you got me because that's a tough one.
That's my point is that, Chicago looks as good as it. They have the best record. They look as good as anyone. They've been as consistent as anyone, but yet when you look at their point, and this is always a key thing I always look for is your point differential.
Yep.
I think they're like 2 points. They're plus 2 points on the season. It's low. And so from that standpoint, if Milwaukee got hot, sure, that would be the case. Philadelphia certainly, has a strong case. But I just think when you just think of it, just in that, there's nothing there for a conclusive answer. So we can say, you know what, this is the right answer. There's nothing.
So folks, that's a good question.
So don't bet it.
A good question for me. It's a good question for you. So give us some of your feedback. Who do you think is the best bet to win the Eastern Conference? And when I say the Eastern Conference, representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals, who is your best bet right now, today, as we speak, to reach the NBA Finals out of the East? So that'll give you a little bit of participation, and I'd be curious to see some of the feedback from some of our loyal listeners out there. Any other thing you want to touch on, Doug?
Well, how about the Memphis Grizzlies? Every night. Okay, first of all, there's a highlight reel of everything that they're doing right. Literally every night. So and they're just right now they're unstoppable. The only thing right now that's, I guess if you're a fan, and they're still a young team. I mean, there's still some growth here for them to have, but right now they're stuck at fourth, okay, in the West. And something would, I mean, maybe they can pass Utah, which would be, advantageous to them. But even if they did, okay, that means they're going to run into Golden State and Phoenix, in the next, beyond the first round. Tough assignment. Now, in a year or two, that might not be as tough of an assignment because they might be the number 1 or 2 seed themselves. But right now, as good as they're playing, there's no team as entertaining to watch.
No doubt. Ja Morant is, am I pronouncing his name right? Ja Morant. Okay. The point guard from Memphis, former star guard at Murray State. He's been phenomenal, Doug. I mean, every night I seem to turn on ESPN. There's a highlight from him doing some kind of acrobatic dunk. And like we discussed off air, Doug, I agreed with you. Doug had mentioned to me off air, geez, Ross, I watched him a lot in college at Murray State. I wasn't convinced he was going to be the type of pro that he's shown this early in his career. And I agree with you, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, he didn't have an outside game to speak of, and it's not like he's a great outside shooter now. But I mean, and this is the thing that I love about with when they have draft shows. Well, he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. Okay, so he doesn't necessarily project well. Well, guess what? Nobody has a clue as to how hard someone is willing to work. Okay, yeah. And so if somebody's willing to work and they want to get better, and they do, well, guess what? This is the type of product that you get. And there's other guys that have more talent than Morant coming into the NBA. But guess what? We don't know who some of those guys are if we want to go back and look at the draft picks, from that draft, Yeah. So I give them all the credit in the world. I think that their general manager has done a wonderful job in putting this team together and assembling it. And if they get a couple more pieces in the next year or two, this will be the new team in the West to beat.
Yes. And, they were a playoff team a season ago, and they accounted themselves very well, even though they were an early exit. I think they lost in 6 games in a first round series, if I remember right. If anything, they got to the second round. I don't think they got beyond the first round, though. And, they're going to be a playoff team again this year. But like you said, right now they're sitting in the number 4 hole, like you said to me off air. And even if they got to number 3, they're looking at a second round matchup if they got by the first round against the Golden State or Phoenix, and good luck with that. So anyway, Doug, you got a free pick for us on Friday, February the 4th.
Yes, and speaking off air, you and I had been discussing that as we do this video of the board that there is on Friday, there's only one game that has an actual line on it as we're doing it. So have to do a little subjective free pick here. Let's call it that. Okay. And the one that I'm looking at is Toronto and Atlanta. Now, both these teams have home games on Thursday night, and we're shooting this Thursday afternoon, this video. The Hawks are hosting Phoenix and the Raptors are welcoming the Chicago Bulls. Atlanta had won 7 in a row, and I think covered all but one of them, which was a push, I believe, in that. But then on Monday, they played Toronto at home and they lost, okay, without Trae Young by 6 points as a 1-point favorite. Tonight, though, on Thursday, they're playing the Suns, as I mentioned, and that's going to be a TNT game. I think that's going to be a big game for both teams. Okay, this is the Suns' first road game of their road trip. So I think that's going to be a lot of emotion that's going to be used here. Now, we don't know for sure. They're listed as day-to-day, and last I checked, Trae Young and DeAndre Hunter were both listed as questionable. I'm going to assume that at least one and maybe both will play. But what I don't know, okay, if there's a lot of emotion used up in that game, what's going to happen the next day in Toronto? My guess is that if one or both play, one or both might not play then against Toronto in that case. Now, the Raptors, are, I said, mentioned playing Chicago, they get to stay home. Okay, so that's a big benefit. Okay, even if they're playing the day before. Now, the Raptors, interesting start to the season at home. They started 2-7 and 1-8 against the spread. But the thing that people need to remember is during the whole COVID thing, they went 19 months between home games, okay, because they played in Florida, okay, and I think it was Florida. Yeah, it was in
Yes.
Florida, is where they played last season for their home games. So there was an adjustment period clearly for the players and the fans. And since that time, Toronto is 12-5 straight up and 12-4-1 against the spread at Scotiabank Arena. Now, Gary Trent Jr. is the dude's on fire, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So I think it's 6 straight games going in tonight, 30 or more points. He's just on fire. Van Vliet's outstanding. Okay. I mean, it's a really good team. And looking at this, I checked out a bunch of different sites to have, let's just call it a projected line. Now, all things being equal, and that's the only thing I can go by, okay, is that Toronto will probably be either -3 to -4. Okay. Obviously, I don't know what the official line is going to be until it comes out, but that's the line I'm going with for this free pick. And so with that, I like the dinosaurs, okay, in this one to get the job done. And also using the fact that Atlanta is 9-15 against the spread on the road this year. So you know what? I'm going to take my chance with the Toronto Raptors minus the 3 or 4 over the Atlanta Hawks.
There you go. The Toronto Raptors minus the 3 or 4 over the Atlanta Hawks. And for what it's worth, folks, Toronto playing with no rest. Now, Doug said both teams will be playing with no rest tomorrow. Toronto is 7-2 straight up and 6-3 against the spread with no rest this year, Doug. So just to add a little more to your repertoire there. So anyway, Oklahoma City is at Portland. That's the one game right now. Again, folks, we're taping the day before. It's approximately 5:15 p.m. Eastern time right now. And they've only given us one game with the line. So I'm going to use that game. Doug took the hard road. Kudos to him. That's why he's a team player. And Oklahoma City at Portland. Portland right now is a 7.5-point favorite, and the total is 214. Let's start with this. Believe it or not, and I probably not a lot of people realize this, but if they go off at 7 or 7.5 or more, this will be the highest number they've been asked to lay all season long. And remember, they had that great playoff run last year where Damian Lillard just went crazy. However, that's a big number for them this year. And they just don't have the same ingredients. The chemistry seems to be flawed. Damian Lillard is out and has been out for a while now. And this is a Portland team that comes in struggling, having gone 0-3 straight up in ATS in their last 3. And they lost those games by an average of 12 points per contest. One of those losses were against these very same Oklahoma City Thunder on the road. They lost 98-81 to Oklahoma City. Now, this is a bunch of firsts here because Oklahoma City right now, they're coming off back-to-back wins. Not only did they knock off Portland 2 games ago, but they upset the Dallas Mavericks on the road as a 12-point underdog in their last time out. This is the first time since 12-22 that Oklahoma City enters a game having won back-to-back contests. And so a couple first here, but you know, the thing we talked about off air is people don't realize Oklahoma City, as bad a year as they're having, plus they're 7-18 straight up on the road. They've covered 16 of those 25 contests on the road. Despite that straight up record, that's a 64% cover rate. And they've also gone 4-0 against the spread recently as an underdog of +1.5 or greater. I should rephrase that. 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games as an underdog of +1.5 or greater, and they won 2 of those games straight up. Doug, I'm going to take a shot here on the underdog Oklahoma City Thunder, who, by the way, Portland is also 1-7 straight up and 2-6 against the spread in a division game, which this is. Division games this year. So I'm going to take Oklahoma City, Doug. Make a long story short, +7.5 over Portland. Doug Upstone, he's going to take the Toronto Raptors either -3 or 4. Again, we don't have a line on that, but we're pretty good at estimating what a line will be. It'll be in that neighborhood, and he likes Toronto in that situation. Doug, tell the folks how they could find you and how you've been doing of late and what you may have coming up.
Yes, so I'm at docsports.com, real simple there. Just look for this face. The picture actually does me more justice than what this face looks like right now. But but that's okay. That's all right. So this is who I am right now. So I'm good to go. But what I also now might be cool here, as I mentioned, cool for me here in Phoenix. But my NBA picks have been red hot. Boy, doesn't that sound like a 1990s line right there, Ross? On a
I'm
handicapping
ready to
show?
go into a disco actually after that line.
And so 9-2, okay, in my last 11 plays in the NBA. So things have been heating up nicely from that standpoint. So looking for some more action. You know, we've got a nice card each of the next several days, and with no hockey, the focus can, you know, we got a little more time to focus on some different sports. So we have that. Had just a minor run in the in college basketball of late, 6-3. So trying to build some momentum there also. And of course, we know it's another big college basketball weekend. So we have all that ready to go. And that Saturday card is always massive. And so hopefully we can put together a bunch of winners for you. And again, that's Doug Upstone at Doc Sports.
One of the finest handicappers in the country, folks. They had a great website, docsports.com. This year, 50 years of existence for that firm. And that speaks volumes in this industry, folks, because me and Doug been around for about 20 years now. We've seen a lot of people come and go just in our career, you know, let alone the last 50 years to exist, succeed, and endure. So that's docsports.com. Look up Doug Upstone. He's one of the best, not only at Docs, but one of the best in the country. I'm coming off a 4-0 night in all sports on Wednesday, actually NBA and college basketball, simplify. And NBA, I'm also red hot in the NBA, having gone 8-2 with my last 10 NBA selections. College basketball 10-star top plays continue to roll as over my last 150 with the 10-star top play college basketball. I am 59% Doug, and my dime players are up a little over 20,000. I had a 3-0 sweep in the NBA last night. I also had a college basketball 10-star top play on Illinois -7 as they won by 13 over nationally ranked Wisconsin. I also Saturday, Doug mentioned a big card last Saturday. I had Texas Tech -4 that walloped Mississippi State 26 by 26 as a 10-star top play. So things are rolling for both of us. You could find me at my personal website. That's rbwins.com, rbwins.com. And again, you could find Doug at docsports.com. For Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care. Good luck and God bless, folks.